Empower 11, the best of its kind in a highly transformative time. Are you empowered? Ready to turn your life up to 11? Awaken the life of who you are on the inside to match the life you were meant to live on the outside. Empower 11. Now is your time.
Empower 11 Radio. Greetings and welcome to Empower 11 Radio. This is the live 1-hour show that we bring to you every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We're coming to you from Santa Barbara County, California, USA. And we really appreciate you stopping by and listening. I am Jack Voorhees, and I'm sitting next to my beautiful co-host, Ann Ribley, who is the epitome of love. If you look up love in the dictionary, you will see her name right next to it. You'll see a picture of her and all her beauty and all her radiant smiles.
Well, hello there, Jack Voorhees. I am very excited to be doing this show with you. You are my partner in this love mission, and you really help navigate such a strong leadership position, you with all of your brilliance, genius, and then warm compassion. You know, we're talking about putting this on video, and all of these nuances that go on behind the scene will be seen. Like just now when you introduced me, you gently touched my shoulder.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Ann just kind of let the cat out of the bag about. We will be bringing this show to you in the same way that you're used to, getting it from Spreaker, which is the platform that we come to you on. You can also get us on iTunes because our shows are going to, they're automatically uploaded to iTunes where you can listen to them as a podcast. And that's a pretty cool way of listening to it if you're on the go, because sometimes you're listening to Spreaker, one of our archived shows, you can get some interruptions and everything. But if you download the podcast, then you can listen to it. There's no interruptions, and
you can subscribe, so it just automatically happens. You can stay right in the loop of getting every show sent right to you in your.
And that's very cool. Spreaker, of course, is a free app that you can get on your iPhone or Android phone. But if you subscribe to our podcast, then you can that's a definitely good way of doing it. Also, you can listen to the show live on the Empower 11 website. And what's cool that's going on with the Empower 11 website is we're about to move over to Amazon Cloud server because sometimes when our site gets busy, it starts being a little slow. So we're going to speed things up for you. Ann, I've really had a good time playing the show with you, and so far it's been a really great week. Even despite our bee issue, we've been inundated with bees. Thousands of them have decided to make our home their home.
And it's actually really interesting because they seem to be gentle. They're minding their own business, and we saw the honeybee hive, and my kids were so fascinated with it, and it was like, Mom, you've got to see it. It looks just like the honeybee right out of Winnie the Pooh, and it certainly does.
Yeah, so we just found out there's a service that a guy will come and take the bees humanely and
for free,
and he wants, because they want the honey and everything. So we're gonna do that. We respect life. We love life, and we love all the components of life. Sometimes they don't always seem so empowering, like when you run into a skunk or something like that, or get stung by a bee. But we do our best to not leave footprints. That is a thing we've often had with the discussions with the boys. our children about leave no evidence, and how the Indians used to they used to not want to leave any evidence of where they've been, where they set up camp, not even to leave footprints.
That is such a strong model, Jack, that I love that you've really instituted into our home with the boys, because it leaves self-responsibility and accountability, that you're not just living in this place that someone else is going to clean up your mess, someone else is going to take care of your stuff, that you're the one responsible. So I just think that is such it lines up with my values so much, and then it's been so great that you've been the leader in that, because people think we can honor that traditions that the Native Americans had with how they handled the earth and they left no evidence, and then we think almost like we can't live in that same philosophy today. But in today's very suburban times, we can still pass that philosophy on to the best of our ability with the way times are today. And I love that, because now what I have boys who, sit at the kitchen table, cook in the kitchen or whatever, and they know how to clean up after themselves and leave no evidence. And that's going to be so serving to them later in life.
Yeah, and they've also been really good about recycling. They're always like, if something gets put in the wrong bin, they're always like, "Hey, what's going on here? Aren't we recycling these?" And yeah, that's a pretty cool aspect of the kids. We're living in an exciting time. We're coming out with electric cars. Solar energy is increasing. The batteries that we're using, how we're becoming, in ways, more connected. At least electronically, we seem to be more connected, and the more like truth is getting out, and it's. It used to be that you could manipulate the truth more if you had like if you owned the newspapers, or you had political clout with newspapers and the news industry and stuff. And now it's getting to like more and more these grassroots campaigns for change, and these something that happens across the world can be broadcast to everywhere in the world within minutes of it happening. Or even live.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is what we talked about in last week's show, is how this dreams and visions and reality are we create from that place by having a dream, a vision, and it becomes reality. And so we're living in a time now where our access to have our dreams get empowered with visions and become reality are closer to us and more accessible to us than ever before. And those that are in that really good, truthful place with themselves are the ones that are going to be able to access their ability to affect their world in the most rapid speed. I mean, a lot of stuff took off when people were all into The Secret and the law of attraction. But how that really works is when we're more in that true good place, we have that more impact and effect in the world around us, where we can accelerate our ability to have what we want on the inside become a match to the world we want to affect on the outside.
And never before has our uniqueness been celebrated as much as it is. I mean, people that are choosing more unique paths, more place of truth, and not just following along, and people that want to set forth change in the world or want to live in a way that seems more in alignment of who they are, they have more ability to do so than ever before. I mean, it used to be, you lived in a town and the only industry in town was the coal mining. And
was the source of livelihood, where now in today's time, you have so many authentic ways that are unique to you that you can exercise.
Yeah, so a poor kid in the Philippines can grow up and become, some kind of website designer or some kind of programmer that's hired from some American firm or Canadian firm or what have you. It's becoming more of a global economy.
Yeah, we are living in a more connected world, and I'm really excited about today's show which is what I think is the glue that begins to connect our lives together. And it's the vibration of love. I always say love is my religion. And the decision to love your life.
Mm. And you've often said that you wish there was a love button on Facebook. But make sure to like us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/Empower11. And that's EMPOWER 11.com. And then if you love our show, or you just want to make a comment or a question, please send them to us via email by emailing us at info@empower11.com, and we will be happy to respond.
Also, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook. I mean, we've been getting a lot of people reaching out to us on Facebook, sending us messages, posting things, so feel free that way too to send us any message you'd want about how Empower 11 is making a difference for you.
Yeah. We've also been getting some spam too, but that comes along with the territory. It's 11:11, and so let's get started on our subject of love.
Yeah, decide to love your life, and
yeah, it's making the decision to love your life, and you know, I just wanna share a story that for me was absolutely just incredibly empowering, and that was in 2010 when I was going through a change in my life. Heartbreak and all kinds of things, just all kinds of change that was challenging in my life, and I was down. I was very down in the dumps, and
well, I want to back up before you go there, because I think that people, I just want to cover this important point. You were down in the dumps, you were going through these change, but you chose them, and that's what I think that's important too, is that maybe it's not the way...
Some of them I chose, and some of them were thrust upon me.
Well, some of them you chose,
yeah.
But then how the outcome was happening, that sometimes we have to surrender to, and it may not feel comfortable.
Yeah, when you're going through life and you decide, like, this is not, you're going to stop, this is not the direction that you want to go, something's got to change, and you put your foot on the brakes. It's like a bus full of stuff that you have with you, and you hit the brakes and everything goes all over the place, and it takes some time to sort those things out and everything.
Yeah, okay, that's what I want to...
It often doesn't feel...
Well, it feels chaotic, and
yeah.
It's... hard to stabilize immediately what is it exactly that we're feeling about our lives and where we're at, because but I just wanted to point out that you decided to put your foot on the brake, and that still, when we just make those decisions, it's allowing ourselves permission to go through that same process, though, of trying to sort it out and being easy on ourselves. So I just wanted to
Yeah, so anyway, I was feeling just so unempowered, and I was sad. I was in mourning over a relationship that I lost. It was just all this change happening, and I was my head was hung pretty low for quite a while I was doing this, and I was going through this, and I remember being in a spot, and I was looking down at my feet, thinking about woe is me kind of stuff, and I took a minute to look up, and I was on a boat. I was on a boat with my son. It's not a dream. It was the reality. I was on a boat with my son. He was fishing off the back of the boat. We were parked at Flag Point, or Detroit Point on Higgins Lake. And I looked around, and here it is, just a beautiful sunny day on this crystal clear lake. My son fishing in the back, and I was like, what am I doing? It's like, I am not, life is too short to be going through life like this. This is not how I want to continue to be. It's like, look at all this gifts all around, all this beauty around me, and I'm going to waste it by being in this place. And I made the decision that I was going to start loving my life. And I wasn't going to wait for X, Y, and Z to happen first. I was going to just start embracing and loving my life. And when we got back to shore, I got off that boat, I had changed. And people could sense it in me. And people noticed it, and they became very attracted to that. And this thing started humming and going my way, and all this awesome stuff was happening, and like it was weird. I was walking by people, and they would just look at me and kind of smile, and it was the energy of love. This. When you make the decision to love your life, it is so attractive. People want to be with people that are in love with their lives. People don't want to hang around with people that are and complaining about this, and if it wasn't for the economy, if it wasn't for the Republicans, if it wasn't for the Democrats, if it wasn't for this, America's going to hell, all this kind of stuff that's going on, that these messages that people want to hold on to and cling to, instead of getting in this space where it's just like, wow, what an amazing gift. Just look around us. Just be present to all this amazing beauty around us. All these amazing people that are in this world that we can collaborate with, that we can share each other's visions and love with.
So it's a decision that we make that is deliberate. Mm-hmm. It's an agreement to ourselves. It's a resolution. It's a declaration. I mean, that is for sure. But it's a
Did you say agreement?
Yeah. It's an agreement.
Yeah.
Well, it's a conscious decision, but for sure. But what I want to talk about, Jack, is that you say that you can't make the decision often enough. So you got off the boat, you were different, but then the biggest deliberate piece of action you did is you kept making that decision to stay in that energy over and over again. And I think that's the mistake, is that people think, oh, well, okay, I woke up today and I love my life, and they look at people and then something happens. Mm-hmm. That could shake things up, and they don't realize that it's a practice. It's a progression, and you gave that to yourself. So I want to just talk about how, when you say you got off that boat, you were different, and the difference was as you chose to constantly embrace that place again and again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when the minutia of life, is happening, and you can get caught up in this stuff, and it's easy to lose track. And often I'll have to take a step back, and I'll say, wait a minute, this is what I love to do. This might not feel that great right now, but I'm doing what I love. So just change that attitude towards something. Like I'd be building a website, and the code gets all crazy, and I'm trying to figure something out, and it's not working, and it looks like hell, and all this kind of stuff is going on, and I'm just like, my eyes are just bugging out with all these numbers and letters and squiggly characters and all this stuff, and I'll be like, this is crap. But then I'll think, wait a minute, this is what I love to do. I love to be in the act of creativity, and this is what I'm doing. I am in that act of creativity. And when I change up that energy, it's like slicing through butter. It becomes a lot easier than just another thing that's like, oh, God, another thing. And oh, man, that is not the proper energy that I want to bring to things.
Well, a burdened energy is a heavy energy. When you're describing that, Jack, it makes me think about being a parent, in that when you're in the throes of, kids fighting and arguing and being difficult, it's easy to get frustrated, but you can also take the step back and you say, wait a minute, I love these little people that I'm raising. I love being a parent to them. It changes the energy you can bring at them, and you're not burdened by it and heavy by it and transferring that to them. It's making that decision that I love them. I love this chance that I have to be a parent and an instrument in their lives. I mean, we have so many aspects that we can recalibrate back to that decision of, wait a minute, this is something I am choosing. This is something that I am consciously aware of that I want to continue to decide to love.
And what it isn't, I mean, it's not a postponement. It's not a delay. It's not a procrastination. Life is a now business. You know, that is what life is about. The present is the gift. Being present, enjoying the present, being in the now. That's where the power is.
Well, that's important, Jack, because you said I made that conscious decision that I wasn't going to wait for X, Y, and Z to happen in order to be in love with my life.
Yeah, I mean,
so to make that decision, you're not postponing it. I'll be in love with my life when I find that perfect partner, when I have that big bank account, when I have that perfect career launch that I'm looking for.
When the planets all align in this one, then I'm going to be happy then.
Right. Right.
Yeah, when when I get the boat, when I get this girl, when I get this job, when I get this much money, when I get when I mean, that's a lot of whenas. And whenna people turn into whina people. And I don't want to be a whina. Because that's not a place of gratitude. That's not a place of love and life,
Yeah, and that is a delay. That is a delay in making the decision. And I want to talk about the fact that to not decide to love your life, to not decide that right here, right now, if you have not made that decision to love your life, understand you have still made a decision.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We always say that. And, for those of you who don't know, I've been in a 12-step program for over 15 years. And we always say that, to not make a decision is making a decision. You're choosing not to decide.
So everybody who is listening right now, in this moment, that decision to love your life, in this moment, is a decision you can make. Because to not make that decision is a decision. And what I think is so empowering about making that decision to love your life is love is a come closer energy. And see, I am so worried about when this goes on video because all of our behind the scene antics, he just came very close to me. And he's biting my shoulder at the moment. No, so love is...
You have no proof of that.
Love is a come closer energy. And when we're in that come closer energy, we are igniting that attractive factor where we are bringing our dreams even closer to us with opportunities. We're an inclusive energy. We're not an exclusive energy, which closes out, pushes away. It's a high vibrational place of the divine.
Oh, yes. I mean, and that's the thing. When I got off the boat and, people could just sense it about me, and, people didn't want to get off the phone with me, and people, when they saw me, I run into people at coffee shops and stuff like that, and they're trying to pull me closer, because they are attracted to that high vibrational place.
That's when I fell in love with you, Jack. That was that summer. I mean, after you made that decision. Mm-hmm. See, yes. I'm very concerned. He's giving me that love look once we're on video. Yes. I fell in love with you, though, seriously, because it's true. When you're saying this was not something that, you embodied it. And I love this about Empower 11. It's about embracing, embodying, and empowering that truthful place within ourselves. And you did. You were embodying that love vibration.
You got caught up in my vibrations, baby. And you're just drawn to me like a magnet.
And all of our life can function that way because that is such a high vibration. So to make that decision, even if we've already made the decision, to sharpen and make that decision again, because Jack, as you said, you can't make it often enough.
And I liked what you said about divine. That it is, love is divine, and it's
that God energy. It's that.
Yeah, it's such a good place to be. I mean, you've run into these people that are nothing but love, man. Like Anne. I mean, people just love you so much because of that love that you just emanate. It emanates out of your pores. I mean, it's in your aura. It just glows when you smile, and you smile all the time, and you have such a beautiful smile. Those dimples are going to be caught on video.
He's making me smile right now. But when you decide to love your life, this is that place where you're deciding to really turn up that volume in what matters with your love up to 11. And it translates to every area that's important to us. It translates to the people we love, to the friendships we have, to the culture and community we're involved with, to the jobs that we do, to the children that we're raising, to the parents that we have in our life, to every aspect of our lives, in our wealth, in our opportunities.
Often in the program, and I was one of these people when in my active addiction, that I was like, if people would just leave me alone and let me do what I want to do, everything would be cool. But what we don't realize is that our actions affect everyone around us. I mean, our closest family members, they watch us as we are torturing ourselves, and what could be the worst kind of what could be a worse kind of torture than watching somebody you love being tortured and being helpless to do anything about it. I mean, it really affects. I mean, that's why we have these Al-Anon programs and things like that, because in this diseases of addiction affects everyone around them, and that's because we have this connection, and I don't think that many can understand just how strong those connections are, and the energies that we give out, how that affects our world around us, especially those we're closest to.
Well, I mean, we can see how powerful that connection is, because think about it. You think of someone, the phone rings, it's them. You're thinking about this person, you're in the store that's, not normally where you're supposed to be or where you're normally at, and you run into this person. It's just these coincidences, these synchronicities, these timings line up because we are so connected to each other. We are so connected to this place of energy. So the source that we're generating out of ourselves, it's emanating out into the world, and it's bouncing back, and it's pinging back to us. And really, to turn up the volume in our lives, turn it up to 11 in all the ways that matter, it is turning up that love vibration, making that decision to love your life, and it does turn up that attraction factor in every area.
And it is this place when you're in this place of real love and really honoring this gift and honoring the present. That is a place of gratitude, and gratitude translates into a great attitude, and that promotes this attractive factor.
I want to talk about why we'd want to make this decision to love our life and the difference between self-love. I mean, we want to make that decision because self-love is so important, and that difference between what is like self-centeredness that can be masked behind people saying, oh, this is self-love. Or another word that I heard from the Dalai Lama that always stuck with me is he would say self-cherishment. That can get mistaken, which is a form of like self-centeredness, which can get mistaken as self-love. So I want to talk about this place where when you decide to love your life, how this true vibration gets in alignment with what true self-love is and what self-love is not, which could fall into this self-centeredness, self-cherishment that is really more of an immature skill set.
Yeah, there is a skill. I believe that there is a skill to developing self-love. and it isn't just there's an emotion. There's a maturity that that needs to be developed, because selfishness is not self-love. It
or
doesn't promote
self-centeredness,
it. Yes.
or self-centeredness, or self-cherishment. However, that word is where it's self-absorbed and
Yeah.
it tunes out of the world around it.
A true place of self-love is that you would love yourself enough that you'd want to share who you are and what you have to offer with others.
Ooh, I like that, because I really believe that sharing is one of the highest vibrations we can tap into, because people say all the time, get enough service, and I do agree with that, but that can be more of an act of obligation to try to contribute. But I do believe sharing, when you get into that place, it's a natural byproduct that leads to good service.
Yeah, and it's not a takeaway. It's not like you have to give of yourself. That means you have to be less of yourself. And I think there's a lot of confusion around that, and I will say about self-centeredness that, self-centeredness is like an inhale only. It's like the life, like the air that we breathe. We inhale, we exhale. That is the natural
Rhythm.
Yeah, it's a flow. It's the rapport, and self-centeredness is like, I'm just going to inhale all the air. I'm just inhaling it, and I'm not gonna share it. I'm gonna hold it, and that's not the way that life works.
Well, I want to talk about, it's a skill set I believe we learn and we cultivate and we expand into. And the reason why I want to talk about this self-love, Jack, show on it, and it's not like we both said, hey, we both agree in this exact same angle. What we're giving you today in this radio show is kind of a combination of a lot of discussion him and I had from different perspectives, because what I've seen in my life in very close, intimate ways that have had its effect, I've seen people who've said, well, I just have to love myself. That's why I'm doing this. And I've watched it have very sabotaging effects on those around, some of these intimate people in that I've had in my life. And then other people saying, well, the problem is with this person is they don't love themselves enough. And I would say to myself, well, you got to be kidding me. This person is so filled with so much self-love that they can't think of anybody else beside themselves. And then
but I don't believe that's true self-love.
I know. So this was your stance. But then I went back to, I believe that children have self-love, but their skill set doesn't know it has to grow into learning how to rapport it with the world, so they can do very selfish behaviors, which is like, oh, get in your car seat. They start freaking out and having a temper tantrum, because in that moment, what serves them and their needs and their own expression of self-love is highly inconvenient. I don't want to be in this car seat. They freak out. But then immaturity. So I believe that a lot of people maybe do have self-love, but how it's expressed is with an immature skill set that hasn't grown up and expanded to the adult self that we need to be in order to rapport with our world.
Yeah, in order for us to be our best self, we need to love and honor ourselves, love and honor the gift, love and honor everyone around us. If we stay in this place of loving, honoring ourselves and others around us, that's the inhale, exhale, that's the yin, the yang, that's what you always see in life. There's balance in all things. And when we do this, and we do this properly, then our life expands.
So I do believe it's a skill set that allows us to rise up in our greatest possibilities and potentials for ourselves. And so one of the greatest gifts as a parent we can give to our children is giving them the skill set so that it matches their ability to express into a world self-love. Because I believe that if someone is born and has this natural self-love, which I do believe that we're born with, but then they don't learn how to expand that skill set in order to rapport with the world around them, they can end up having a lot of hiccups and dysfunctional experiences in life that then will erode that self-love.
Well, and I also believe that there is these people that have a lack of self-love, and from this lack of self-love, then if they can't love themselves, and then they don't have this love to give, because they don't. If you don't have it, you can't give it. You can't. If you don't have something, you can't share it. And I think that there's a lot of people that are in that place where they don't. You watch them do all these destructive things to themselves, and it's like obvious that love that they don't have that love of life and that love of self.
I think their skill set is highly
I think it's beyond a skill set. I think it's this. Some people just don't have it.
Do you think they're born that way? Because I don't know if I believe that we're born with no self-love.
I don't know if the answer for me is I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that comes in. I tend to believe that we do come into the world with self-love.
Okay, the only reason why I want to make a point of this is because I feel that we throw these around like cliches that become excuses in order to not be accountable in our own loving expression of our life by saying, well, I can't do that because I need to take care of me and my self-love. And it could have this very sabotaging effect. Or you'll see another thing of, well, they're acting this way because they don't love themselves and they don't have self-love. And I think the truth sits somewhere in a deeper place than that. And I think that we have to get into alignment with who we are on the inside, which is a source of, there's a universal loving presence that is already available to us and is causing our life to happen, our heart to beat, our blood to keep pumping through our bodies. And that kernel of love and that pulse of life is there. And if we have put layers upon layers in order to block it, I still believe it's there for us.
Well, often people will use whatever means as excuses, and there's really no excuse for bad behavior. Now, I believe that there is some times where people have to go back and, like a guy who comes to a meeting, comes to one of our 12-step meetings and says, I can't do it. I'm trying everything I can. I just can't stay sober. And sometimes the answer is this person needs rehab. And they're like, are you kidding me? 90 days in rehab? 30 days in rehab? I can't do that. I would lose my job. I might lose this. I might, I have responsibilities I have to do and all this stuff. And the thing is that they may not be able to if they go on the way they're going on, the answer could be death. And there is a time where it's like, hey, whatever you got to do, man, you got to check yourself in the hospital because you got to think about long term what's good for you and everyone around you instead of maybe on the short term. And it is a slippery slope. It is, this thinking, oh, he doesn't, there's a time when, there's a reason when the airplane's going down and the oxygen masks come down and you say, or they tell you put on your own mask first and then help other people, because if you aren't healthy, you can't help other people. And there's a time where there's this thing that it may seem selfish at the time, but it's in the greater good.
I do agree with that there are times when we actually need to become what feels more selfish in order to give more self-love to ourselves. I am an advocate for that, because I think that especially like with mothers, they feel like they have to give at the expense of themselves. many times that's a characteristic of a mother, is they have to give at the expense of themselves. So sometimes it may feel as if you've got to get more selfish in order to be in this place of self-love.
Well, that's a characteristic of a father as well. Okay, just let you know from the father perspective, I've been there too.
Okay, yes. Okay, so I'm agreeing with that. So let's get to the place of what real self-love is in making the decision to love your life. I believe it still is this lifelong practice that happens in steps of progression, and that we are like a rose, in that we're designed to open up more into who we are. And the more we can get the skill sets that help us do that, where we become more fragrant, more full, more beautiful, and not get locked into this one certain level of our own skill set, so that we're like the bud that you ever see a rose that like somehow it just dies before it opens up. When you get these bouquet of roses, it's like you're disappointed. It didn't become its fullest expression.
Whenever I get a bouquet of roses, I don't think I've ever gotten a bouquet of roses.
Well,
I'm not following your example, Ann.
Well, we'll have to change something about that, Jack.
Oh,
Let's start with becoming.
Yeah, I'm a man. I'd rather have a power tool or some piece of electronics. Give me a Wi-Fi backup hard drive, and that's.
It's on its way. It'll be here before your birthday.
Yay! All right. So, honoring life is not just honoring your own life. It's honoring the act of life. It's the real embodiment of it is on not just a little piece of it, but all of it. And when we bring in all of it, and we bring in all of it closer to us, we honor the bees.
I love that you're talking about. We honor all of it, because I do believe self-love is I'm all in on what is. And I know, Jack, that you've demonstrated that. Even like when you said I made the decision to fall in love with my life, you would say repeatedly, I'm all in, and on life and on love. And you've demonstrated that.
Yeah.
And
if you're not all in on love, then you're just like.
Yeah.
Like is not love.
Right.
I'm going to like my life. Okay. Well, that's cool. Like your life, but it'd be kind of better to love it.
Right. So.
And that's an all in. Yeah. I'm going to love you, Ann, a little bit.
Right.
Right. It just doesn't work, man. You love is one thing that you go all in on. All in on.
And then you always say big love. Big love, Ann. That's what you would say.
Yes, huge, enormous.
And so you make it great. That's what being grateful is.
You turn it up to 11.
Yeah, and so I think self-love is getting all in on what is, and sometimes that may mean with some of the things that are unpleasant in our life, but we're getting all in on the truth of what is.
Yeah.
It can be the things that we love, that we have great love for, the big love for. It can also mean coming closer and getting to the truth of what is. And it may mean
getting stung by a bee.
Yeah, or no, actually, let's go to real life examples. Some people, it may mean a divorce, because that's the only way they're going to get to self-love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's that's changes.
Major life change.
Major life change, yes. I'm just giving that as an example, because I just saw that recently in somebody that's close to my social circle, is that finally after all these years, somebody had to stand up and say, this isn't working for me anymore, I have to get a divorce. And it upset a lot of things, but it was an act of self-love for this person.
In 2009, the end of 2009, I made a declaration that my life was going to change, because I was not loving my life. It was, and I was getting a place I thought, hey, I'm too old to not love my life. But the thing is, we're all too old to not love your life. If you don't love your life, then change is necessary.
And that's part of self-love. Mm-hmm. It's the things we love, turning it up to 11, having it become big love, and it's the things so we're all in on what is. That is making the decision to love our life. It's getting all in on what is.
And we talked, I think in last week's show, we talked about, there's a way that that someone else sees it, the way that you see it, and the way it really is. And the closer you can get to, what really is, that's where the power is. And not trying to be la 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 la, I can't hear, I can't, it's really looking at things clearly for what is.
That is so powerful, Jack, that since we started developing that material on that, it's had this really residual effect on me. Is like, it really gives you an expansive place to look at life, from last week's show about there's the way other people see it, there's the way you see it, and then there's the way it really is. And if we can align ourselves and make the decision to love our life and get all in on what is, then we know what changes we need to make. It doesn't even matter whether it's financial. It doesn't matter whether it's in our love relationship. It doesn't matter if it's with our parenting style, if it's with our job, our purpose, our career. The more we can get into that truthful place, love will carry us through it.
Yes, this place of fearless reflection, this the willingness to ask yourself the tough questions. And knowing that the only way through is through. Sometimes we have to really look at things clearly and not try to sugarcoat it. It's when the guy comes to the meeting for the first time and he says, I'm Jim, I'm an alcoholic. It's like they can't believe the words are coming out of their mouth. Like they don't really believe it yet, but they've. Well, here is an example. This woman comes into a meeting and she says, "I don't really believe that I'm having trouble with this first step. Admitting that I'm an alcoholic, that I'm an addict." And her kids had been taken away, and she's losing their teeth, and she lost one of her arms from shooting up and, the infection and stuff that happened with that abscess, and still yet having a problem, admitting that they were an addict or an alcoholic.
So deciding to love your life is going all in on what is. And that's an extreme, obvious to the outside world where others see it. She's got the way she sees it, and then there's the way it really is. And the more we can get closer to that real truth in our life, the more it's true, Jack, with that fearless reflection and the willingness to ask those tough questions. And the only way through is through. I absolutely agree. We can fall into this decision where we make the decision to love our life. Now I want to talk about there's falling in love and there's rising in love. And I believe this decision to love your life is a rise up in our lives. It's a rising up with real love.
I want to add one thing about the what is and the fearless reflection first, and that is that to stop feeling sorry for yourself. That's when we stop feeling sorry for ourselves, we can see things more for what is. And that was what I was doing on the boat. I was feeling sorry for myself, and I made the decision to stop that. And you can't really see what is for what it really is when you're feeling sorry for yourself, because there's too much emotion involved in that. Emotion can really cause poor decision making, and if you're going to make the decision to love your life, you're going to make that decision clearly.
Well, I think when you say I was feeling sorry for myself, I think what's the behavior that causes us to do that is we're pushing out. We're not bringing closer the truth and what is. And again, making the decision to love your life is a come closer energy. It's coming closer to the truth. It's coming closer to yourself. It's not taking your energy and pushing it out. It's bringing it closer, which gets into what's really important within Power 11. It's about embodying the truth. It's about embracing the truth. It's about embodying it. That means you start living in your body, your mind, your heart, your soul of who you are. You're not living somewhere else, projecting way outside of yourself. You're bringing it in closer. You're getting deeper into the truth of who you are. And in this life, in this body,
embracing your uniqueness. And that's been talked about so much, that we want to tell our kids they can be anything they want to be, and yet we're not being anything that we want to be. We're not being in the truth of who we really are. Man, your kids, they learn from what they see you do, and a lot less from what you tell them to do. They are great observers of how you're living your life. You want to be a great example. You want to have great kids. Be a great example. Be a great person, and watch your kids follow in your footsteps.
And then, take that into an expansive place beyond just even the core family unit, but in our world, and that comes back to what Gandhi said: be the change you wish to see in the world. And it is that same place of living it, embodying it. I'm excited for next week's show because we're going to talk about what it really means to begin to embody this decision to love your life and to lean into love and to embrace this uniqueness of yourself, of others, because that is where love sits. It sits in that place of our uniqueness. And when you think about it, all the things that we love about our partners in life, about our children in life, and the things that we embrace and that we really tap into that love vibration, it's all their uniqueness. It's their unique ways. I remember my brother was telling the story when he was getting ready to go on the speaking engagement. And before he left, in his pathway on the way to the car was his daughter's hair clip that he almost stepped on. Mm-hmm. And he picked it up and he put it in his pocket. And he got up on stage and was speaking later, and he held that hair clip in his hand. And in that, thinking of her little ponytail,
Aww.
in that hair, and all the unique things that make her her, he was reminded with that hair clip that he almost stepped on the way to his car for the speaking engagement. And it's those unique moments. It's like I was preparing for this radio show, and I was thinking about it. I say to Jack all the time, I love you in your way, because it's just so you own your own unique way. You own your own unique way to love. And, he has these different ways that, every night that, he'll reach over and touch me, and it's so him. And I'm thinking, if something happens to the ones we love, it's what we're going to miss is their uniqueness that they brought to our life, their unique way they made us smile, their unique way that they touched us, and the unique way that they made us laugh, all their quirky things that they would do that make them who they are. And it's leaning into this love that we begin to expand, because it's that good place we get inside with ourselves where we honor it more and we honor it in other people, that we really start to live and embody that decision to love your life.
And then that's what we remember about people. We remember the uniqueness. We don't remember the conformity or what we don't.
Right.
That's what stands out about people. Uniqueness. I mean, that's why we're not all named Bob. There's lots of people named Bob, but there's this. Why do we have these unique names and the unique last names instead of, that's what we remember. Okay, there's all these Bobs, but I remember Bob Felberg. I remember Bob Barada. I remember Bob, and you remember the uniqueness about these people, And instantly, the one that came to my mind first, Bob Felberg, he's the most unique of the Bobs that I know. And it was just interesting that he came up. Bob Felberg has this. He has this big handlebar mustache.
Oh, almost like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I mean, it's really big. He's had it forever. It's even the logo of his business is this mustache, right? So that uniqueness really stands out. The unique people in the world, I mean, those are the people that you remember. Like Gandhi, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, all these unique people, Steve Jobs, very, very unique person. Those are the they didn't get there by accident. I mean, those are the people that have a deep appreciation, a deep love for life, love and self-respect. They honor themselves, they honor others, they honor the gift of life.
Well, it's interesting when you have more than one child or you have multiple kids, you start to see that they each come in with their own unique set of how they're going to interact with the world, how they're going to be, that just is beyond the way you've raised them. And this story sticks with me. That is just, I always think about the difference between my two kids. And it was several years ago, when I took them to an ice skating rink, and it was the first time they were ice skating. And my oldest CJ, he was just all over the place. And it was almost hysterical because he was fast on his feet, but falling down and just really trying to skate. And he was all over the place for this hour, where my younger one was holding on and inching his way around, working up his courage, getting a little further out, and this is his personality. There's a little ways that in some ways he gets a little bit more prepared, and he doesn't say those things or do those things that are so obviously, going to get him in trouble, or do things that are so abrasive, or where my oldest is more I'm all in, I'm going to learn as I go. And so by the end, watching these two skate, my oldest kind of had it down. But he completely made a fool of himself, was falling on his butt, was getting hurt, was all over the place. And I said to CJ, I go, CJ, what's up with the skating? You were all over the place. And he's like, I found absolutely no joy in holding on.
Yeah.
And it was
awesome.
At that age, it just really stuck with me. For him, his unique way is really a let go. And my younger one, his unique way is more styled in a preparation. And they got into a fight recently about going BMX jumping. The one said, I want to watch YouTube clips and prepare my mind with how I want to do the BMX jumps. And the other one said, well, I don't want to do that at all because I already know what's in me and I'm just going to do it. And that'll ruin it for me if I have to watch other people do it. And it's the thing of it is that it's so much their unique ways that if I continue championing them, they're going to serve them in life. And we had a family meeting where Jack said, when they were arguing with each other whose ways are better, and you're you're going to come out just fine, and you're going to come out just fine, because each of you are your own individual persons that have your own way, and you will be fine.
Yes, embrace your uniqueness. This love for life is a joy. When you are in love with life, it is very joyful. You don't have to take yourself so seriously in order to honor your life, and in order to honor yourself in this. It's the ability to laugh at yourself. That is the joyful expression of this love. You don't have to take yourself so seriously. I mean, I laugh at myself all the time, and I'm willing to share the stories where I embarrassed myself because it doesn't affect my identity. And I just love, I just love life, and loving life is loving all of it. And we said for what is, right? And that's even the times where you made a fool of yourself. That's even the times where you fell down.
Right.
It's even those, I've personally shared things on this show that were very painful experiences in my life, but I share them because I love my life, and those painful things I've learned from and grown, and it has caused me to develop to the person that I am and where I'm at.
You are playful, and love is a playful energy, Jack. I mean, we just went...
I love to play with you.
Well, the other day, we went through this where we got this whole box of ice cream sandwiches, and oh my gosh, it turned into this whole competition event between you and the boys over eating these ice cream sandwiches.
Do we still have some left?
And I said, nobody's listening to me. And then you came back in and you're like, guess what? I'm a big kid and I'm going to play.
Yes.
And then you even said to me, and guess what? All of your best friends are married to the same kind of person too, who are playful.
Yes. Childlike. Yeah,
Childlike.
You can have childlike qualities. Yes.
And then I said, it's interesting. They're all only children. Maybe they didn't have a sibling that they fought enough with to take it out of them.
Yeah. So, okay, we're getting to the bottom of the hour here. Top of the hour, however you say it. And we like to... we've been ending our show with this meditational moment. So, Anne, would you like to share our meditational moment?
Yes, today we are going to go into, so wherever you're at, I ask you to take a few deep breaths in and out and tune into this vibration of love. It is like the tuning fork, where if you can get into this resonance and ping out to the world, you will increase this attraction factor back in this vibration of love. So whether you're traveling in your car, whether you're at home in your cooking in your kitchen, cleaning your house, wherever it is, I ask you to go into this quiet space of rhythmic flow, of breathing in and out, and go into the place where love is unconditional, where love has no container, where the conditions of love does not live in a place where there's a barrier or a bar to get in the way of. For life to thrive at the rate in which you want all good to be pulled to you, live in that space of unconditional love. That's a life just beyond raising the love, but a life of gathering unto itself and into you the pure love that you have to give, with no expectations in return, but only that giving statement of who you are in the highest love. The kind of love that is unconditional, non-transactional. It doesn't give like a business. It gives in this bounty of life. And it comes back to you in its own natural accord with the presence of that high unconditional love, being empowered, being expanded. The real winners in life love. Winning at life, the real winning, when all is said and done. The people who have adored and who have been adored come through this life and live and tap into that deep, universal, loving presence that's known in their soul, that demonstrates itself through the high vibrational pure love that cannot be contained, that does not have conditions. This love overflows from the heart and is poured into our lives and felt by all those who come in our circumference. I wish you a life on 11 with love.
Thank you so much for sharing, Anne. And that concludes our show for this week. Have an empowered week, and we will see you on the radio next week. Love to you.
Power 11 Radio.